this is WobblyWallaby. With the newly released map buffs for the hunting ground maps released this week, farming will be fantastic. Let's take a look at this Gunslinger's offline battle summary. What the hell? 20 million Zeny from the offline summary? That is absurd. If you want to learn how nootstalk pulled this off and other great info from late game gunslingers, keep watching. First, a huge thank you to the wonderful folks in the Gunslinger channel in the unofficial Ragnarok mobile community Discord channel. When I was learning to play Gunslinger and trying to understand the class more, I got great tips and help from people there. For this video, I'd like to especially thank It's Soulbender, Not Occultits, who is nootstalk from the intro, He Kikiri, Druby the Hero, and Valkova Qualified. First are Gunslinger Recommendations. Now, before you drop your Stellar Hunter and switch to Gunslinger, there are a few things you should know. Stellar Hunters have a ton of skills that contribute to his high auto attack damage. When you switch to other auto attacking classes, such as Gunslinger or Ruin Master, you'll immediately notice your damage has fallen dramatically. Hiya, without passives like Vulture Eye and Elemental Arrow, your auto attack damage is garbage, especially if your deposit is low. I definitely struggled with 29% deposit, and a lot of people I talked with have 60% or higher deposits. So when does Gunslinger start to beat Stellar Hunter? From observing people's offline summaries and comparing it with my own Stellar Hunter farming, I'd say without the God Rifle, and if your Flyfire Ruin has a 70-75% first line, your farming will be fairly close with Stellar Hunters. So personally, I wouldn't abandon my Stellar Hunter unless my first line was higher than that. Otherwise, you're spending a lot of Zeny or real money on small farming improvements. Also, the God Rifle, Yoparei's Dragon Cannon, is definitely very useful, since this gives you +3 meter range when using rifles. If you don't have access to one in your guild, you'll definitely see lower results. The less walking, the better. You'll also be better at chasing away those pesky Stellar Hunters by killing things so far away that they'll be running off somewhere else. He, Kikiri, and Valkova helped confirm this generalization. They also mentioned that 90% or higher is when you start seeing a big difference. Valkova mentioned when the first line went from 71% to 93%, there was a noticeable difference. He, Kikiri, shared a screenshot from leeching teammates with kills per minute and says the range can go from 140 and spikes to 160. He, Kikiri's Flyfire Ruin is at 75%. 140 to 150 kills per minute is attainable as a Stellar Hunter. Without the God Rifle, the number of kills can fall to around 130 to 140, so it's something to consider if you don't have access to a God Rifle. Even if your Flyfire Ruin isn't at 90%, the homing missiles still work very well when monsters are less dense. On Soul Hunting grounds, the density is definitely lower when compared to Komodo, so sometimes Stellar Hunters are just hitting one monster at a time with meter vision. Meanwhile, for the homing missiles, it's going to find the target whether it's close to that initial monster or not. Besides the ruins and the God Rifle, another common thing I've seen is the high deposit and very good gear. The requirements to farm Soul Hunting grounds is very high. This is because the monster types are quite different, so it's hard to target them, unlike Komodo where they're all water. When I tried using Gunslinger with my 29% deposit and mid-game gear, I could only kill Wandering Spirits with both auto attack and homing missiles. For horns, I could kill them with auto attack only. Whereas if I go to Komodo, there's lots of water monsters, so it's not a problem for me to kill them all. So to see real results on Soul Hunting grounds, you need to one-shot everything, and that's the difficult part when you have low deposits and you don't have late game gear. Next is gear. Nootstalk posted his full gear, and I'll be going over that and also sharing some alternatives. For offhand, he uses the +15 Flaming Feather. This provides a ton of attack speed due to the 12 agi and 24% gear attack speed. The rifle attack speed isn't high, so this helps a lot. If you need more damage, a common one I've seen gunslingers use is the Eagle Flute with the max 18% physical damage increase. This adds a lot of damage, but at the cost of lower attack speed. For card, he uses the Ralphacia card for dealing more damage to horns, as they are both earth and insect monsters. For armor, he uses the +10 Jaeger's combat uniform. This armor is great due to the extra +1 meter combo with the Assault Terminator. This is the optimal armor since it extends the range, but you're taking a huge loss in damage. For card, he uses the Gloom Under Night card for 15% damage to dark monsters and 15% damage to demon monsters, which is great versus Reaping Ravens. I see many people using the Voodoo armor since it provides great penetration percentage and ignore defense. For example, Druby has the legend level Voodoo armor with 15% penetration. For garment, he uses the Brave Warrior's Pauldron for the ignore defense and skill damage. He uses the Celebration Collection card for +3 to all attributes. For footgear, he uses the Boots of Balance for high attack percentage and the nice 6% damage increase as a random attribute. For cards, he uses the Flute Player Star card for 15% move speed. For his first accessory, he uses the Fissure Beam. This adds great damage and gives +20 critical at Refine 15. When I use Gunslinger, I found I lacked critical, so this is a nice accessory to make up for it. For card, he uses the Greatest General card for the final damage +10%. For a second accessory, he uses another Fissure Beam with the Santa Pouring card for dealing with Reaping Ravens. For weapon, he uses the +10 Assault Terminator. For card, he uses the Clock Star card for damage to demons and +15% damage to monsters. This is fantastic for dealing with all monsters, and especially the Reaping Ravens. For a second card, he uses the Desert Wolf card for dealing with small monsters, which are the Reaping Ravens. For head, he uses the Small Secret for the 1% extra Zeny. This is the best farming head in the game. For card, he uses the Mashin Hero Wataru card for the auto attack damage +2%. One neat trick that I saw from Druby was using the +15 Refine voucher and comboing it with the Bigfoot Lobster card for a huge damage boost. He says it's meme farming, but I think this is 400 IQ farming. This cool tech made me snap this card recently, and it works quite well with Small Secret with a Refine voucher. For face, he uses the Sugar Content Uncertainty for the 5% chance to earn 20 extra Zeny when killing on target. He also has a great +15% ignore defense enchant on this face item. I see a lot of people use the Illusory Light Mirror as their face item, but it really depends on what your homing missile damage is. For mouth, he uses the Glutonious Imp, which gives 5% penetration percentage and 5% final damage percentage. For back, he uses the One-Eyed Captain for the unlimited SP and 30% move speed when killing targets. For tail, he uses the Flying Quarterback for 5% move speed and the 5% damage increase to monsters. For Ancient Relic, he uses the Waist Size for the attack, dex, and attack percentage. For God Weapon, he uses the Yapure's Dragon Cannon, which provides a lot of extra damage, and the insane +3 meter range for auto attack for rifles. Next are character stats. For these stats, the God Rifle is unequipped, as you can see from this screenshot. His attack is at 23,743. His move speed is at 133%. His attack speed is at 275.9%. His fire damage is at 25.5%. Against Earth, it is 23% for horns. Against Dark, which shows up here as Shadow, it is 35% for dealing with Reaping Ravens. Against Demons, it is 44% for dealing with Reaping Ravens. Against Undead, it is 23% for dealing with Wandering Spirits. Against Formless, it is 27% for Wandering Spirits. Against Insect, it is 59% for Horns. Against Small, it is 25% for dealing with Reaping Ravens. Against Medium Size, it is 6% for dealing with Wandering Spirits and Horns. For skill damage, it's at 8%. For damage percentage, it's at 119.1%. For physical damage increase, it's at 66.3%. And his Ignore Defense is at 104.5%. For his Adventure Handbook, his attack is at 2,879, and his deposit percentage is at 39%. Next are Advanced Ruins. This is his Advanced Ruin configuration. For his Flight Fire Ruin, he has a 91% homing missile chance, with the homing missile damage at 15%. Next are Pets. For Pet, he uses the Golden Sand Nano Pet for the extra Zeny. 5% chance to get 6 extra Zeny adds up when you're killing at this rate. Next are Foods. Incredibly, nootstalk didn't need to consume any foods, beam meals, or converters. To avoid eating fire converters, he uses the fire knife for the Oracle Mirror extract to turn his weapon into fire. Also, the reason why move speed foods weren't used is they can actually make farming worse. I've seen a few gunslingers confirm this, as you want to stay at the bottom left spot and not move around too much. He mentions, the few times I ate move speed food, I checked back to find myself in the middle spot, that's about 10 to 20% less farm. For us mere mortals, Satisfied Feast, Dex B, Edgy B, Awakening Potions, and Flame Hearts are all nice to have. Next is Farming Location. The maps is the Soul Hunting Ground maps or its mirrored maps. The position is at the bottom left of the map, where the density there is the best, but you need to be able to one-shot everything here because all 3 creatures are present there. Next are farming results. Nootstalk posted its results on April 16th, which means all the map buffs were out at that point on the Hunting Ground maps. Haters would definitely complain if they didn't see video evidence. I'd love to be in a position where my farming results were so good that people wouldn't believe me. That's the dream. During his farming run, he posted a screenshot of his kills per minute. He has 184 kills per minute, which is insane. I'll slow down the video so you can see the results. I'll also summarize this in the next slide. You can also see his combat time to show you it's just from 1 day of farming. Here is his summary. He got 45.89 million Zeny, and of that, 23.7 million is raw Zeny. These are some truly insane farming results. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe.